G'day everyone and welcome, and today we're going to be talking through what are some of the best mods you guys should be running in 2024 for World of Tanks. This is a compilation of the best mods that I've seen throughout the course of 2023, and launching straight into 2024, I think these are some of the best ones you're going to be wanting to use. Now obviously I am going to be using Aslain's mod pack, as you can see here from the wargamingmods.net portal. What does that mean? It means all of these mods are 100% safe and verified as by Wargaming, hence why it is on their main webpage here. So don't have any concerns or issues about downloading this mods, they are all 100% approved by Wargaming. If you guys do have any alternative mod packs that you guys do think are probably better than Aslain's, let me know that below in the comments, because I have seen a couple of different mod packs suggested in my other videos, so let me know if maybe I should check those out going forward. Anyhows, let's go ahead, and what you're going to want to do when you're visiting Aslain's mod pack here, you're going to go and click on this big button here that says download mod, select it for the version, which it should hopefully be for the current patch, download that, select the got it button, and you can choose the version here that you want. In my case, I'm downloading for patch 1.23.0.1, so I'm going to download the mod, that's going to download and install, and we will be right back. Once the mod pack has been downloaded, what you're going to want to go ahead and do is going to just double click on that to actually bring up the mod pack. Yes, this is Windows Defender doing its job. Don't worry, this mod pack, as I mentioned before, is 100% safe. You do not need to worry about anything harming your computer in any sense. And we're going to want to select the installation language to use. In my case, I want English, but you've got a whole variety of different options. Obviously, if you're using a different language, you're going to want to click OK. When you get to this screen here, very important, you're going to want to hit this show preview window. Essentially, that's going to show you a little preview of the mod pack that you're about to install. Select next. See a little bit of an introduction and legality, etc. Select next, and you can see the update log, the change log here. Click next. You're going to want to go ahead here and make sure, as soon as this loads, that you are installing in the correct game version. So for me, I play on the Asia server for World of Tanks, hence why it's World of Tanks Asia. If you play this on EU or NA, it will say World of Tanks NA, EU will say World of Tanks EU, etc. So just make sure you're installing for the correct one. If you want it for the Common Test server, it'll probably say something like World of Tanks Common Test. Just make sure you're installing in the correct version. If you are playing through Steam, I do believe this works. I have not tested myself, unfortunately, but it should be able to install for those users on Steam as well. Once you've got this selected, go ahead and select next, and we're here in the mods. So the very first mods that I'm actually going to suggest here is these XVM padlocks in the garage. What are these padlocks used for? As you can see is highlighted on the right hand side here. They're little padlocks that allow you to choose when you want to and when you don't want to be using currencies such as your free experience, your gold, and your bonds. If you do select these locks and you do go ahead and say I don't want to use them, it will not be used for any of your purchases such as training crews, researching vehicles, researching modules. You'll only use what is ever available for your tank. So that's a really quite a useful one. I particularly like it for the free experience. Back when I was grinding a lot of different vehicles, I didn't like to use free experience if I could avoid it. And it's a very useful one if you're just wanting to use combat experience. So I do recommend using these ones here, and it does change I like to have the color change here from green to red just to make it a bit more obvious for myself. I do as well like to also have the garage clock shown in the hangar, although that is obviously completely optional. One that I reckon is quite important, although it will depend on your mileage, is I do like to have free camera enabled in replays. That's particularly useful for me as a content creator, but if you just want to have maybe a cool perspective, you want to get a cool cinematic shot or something, this is a nice one to have, although obviously it's only restricted for replays. One that I am going to suggest highly though for all players to probably be using is this mod here that's called Better Reticle Size. Now, as you may have been aware, this mod pack was introduced throughout 2023, and essentially it helps quote unquote fix your dispersion. In essence, the reticle of your dispersion is about 70% larger than what it actually is, and this just reduces it down to the actual dispersion size of your tank rounds. Now keep in mind, some stray shots may go outside of the circle because it is artificially reducing it, but it does help you to be just that little bit more confident about where your shots are probably going to go, and I really do encourage people to use this one. Another mod pack here that I actually really like to use is this aiming timer one. Now you've got a couple different versions here. You've got the classic view and you've got the new version here. Either one is completely fine to use. I just like it to get a general idea of how close I am to being fully aimed into my with my shots, but completely optional if you do not feel as though you need it, especially with using the better reticle size mod as shown just before. Another mod that I highly recommend for players to use is this animated icon for Sixth Sense. In this case, I've got mine selected to be the bulb one, and it's got a countdown of 10 seconds. This is really quite useful because obviously Sixth Sense is delayed by a couple of seconds, and the time it takes for you to get unspotted from the last moment an enemy vehicle was spotting you is by default 10 seconds. Obviously, Sixth Sense has a delay of 2 seconds, so adding 2 seconds onto this 10-second timer is 12 seconds in total. And I find this one to just be really quite useful, just because it gives you that extra little bit of benefit of, say, being able to be fully behind cover, making sure you know you're completely unspotted, and it doesn't take into account in case some commanders are using some crew skills, or maybe even a couple of the equipment choices that do extend the time you're being spotted for. So this one is really quite useful in my opinion, so it gives you a bit of an idea of when it might be safe for you to peek back out into a bush or around a corner, or if you need to hold on just a little bit longer before peeking back out. Another mod here that I think is really quite useful for players is to have this Another mod pack that I find to be quite useful is having this unanonymizer on the battle results window, and that automatically goes ahead and unanonymizes a player that is using the anonymizer feature. So it doesn't mean you have to go ahead and hover over what a player's name was in the game. You can just go ahead and just see directly what their actual username is, and that's quite useful, and I do like to have that, especially when it's like you see a player on the enemy team perform quite well, you're not sure who it is, look straight at the battle results and it's like, I know who that player was. So I find this one to be really quite nice. Battle Hits Viewer, this is a fantastic mod. If you're wanting to know exactly why your shot may have just not penetrated an enemy vehicle, or you may be wondering how on earth you got penetrated in return, this is a fantastic one for you to be able to sit there and analyze how on earth where that shot might have went. So this one I highly recommend. Replays Manager, if you do like to go through a lot of replays, like myself as a content creator, this one I do recommend using. It just helps to easily go through all those replays. One in general that I think players will always be able to find useful is Extended Friends and Blacklist. If you do like to be blacklisting a lot of, say, artillery players, as I'm aware quite a fair few people do, this one's going to be kind of useful for you because you can have an extended blacklist. Or if you just happen to have a lot of friends that also play World Tanks, then this one's going to be really useful to you to get beyond the default limit in the game. One that I find to be actually quite a fair bit of fun to be playing around with is if you ever get stuck not sure what vehicle to play, you can set your filters up and just hit this button here, which will just randomly select a tank for you. I like this one. It does come for a bit of, hey, I haven't played this vehicle, might as well play it because this is what's selected for me. So I do quite enjoy this one, and it does give a bit of variation if I don't know what vehicle to be playing. Well, that's all the main mods there that I recommend for players to use in 2024. Once you've selected all the mods that you do want to use, go ahead here, click the next button. I would recommend with the installation options, making sure you're wiping all your previous mods from the game and clearing everything just to make sure there's going to be no conflict between any old mod packs that you might have. Select next and install, and all these mods will then be installed onto your game client, which will be fantastic to have. Once you get to this screen, you'll know Aslain's mod pack will have been successfully installed. And that's all I've really got to say for this video. Thank you guys very much for tuning in. I hope this guide has helped you. Let me know down in the comments if there's any mods I might have missed out that you recommend players should be using in 2024. And let me know if there's any alternatives to Aslain's mod pack that I probably should look to check out in the future. If you want to come catch me live, my Twitch link is in the description. Come join me on twitch.tv/99destroyer. Otherwise, thank you guys so much for watching. And if you've managed to stick around this long, you're gonna want to click on this video here.